Who are our torchbearers of the game, Caleb?
All right, so why don't we start with Dave's nemesis, who for some reason he just doesn't like. And I'm obviously talking about the one, the only Boo Carter.
I love Boo Carter.
Dave thinks he's a problem child, that it's going to cause some issues, called him the Brian Darden of this team.
No, I
recently.
said that they would have treated him if he had this type of attitude like the Brian Darden that they beat into submission back in 1990, whatever.
The only difference is Boo would have handled it well and would have recovered, whereas Brian Darden was mentally weak and walked out on the program. Is that fair?
Yep, pretty close. Listen, he's going to break a punt return for a touchdown at some point this year.
He is. And that interception was, he stayed on, what did I tell you earlier in the week? Kevin Coleman, they were going to try to go to the whole time. Boo Carter stayed on him like glue. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Did not let him get any separation whatsoever. This dude's a baller, guys. This dude is one of the few defensive backs. He's playing nickel. Dave, can I say this? And I don't know if you've covered people like this before, but I don't know many defensive backs who could literally play any position in the secondary elite, but I feel like Boo Carter could.
I think he's as versatile as Eric Berry. I don't think he's as good as Eric Berry, but Berry played in the NFL strong safety, free safety, cornerback, and outside linebacker. I think Boo Carter could do that. Not quite at the same level as Eric Berry, but that's pretty rare versatility.
Okay, so how about this? Let's do a lesser level of Eric Berry. What about Jason Allen? Boo Carter's this Jason Allen. This team's Jason Allen.
Oh, I think Boo's way better than Jason.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I like Jason. I had an issue with Jason after the hip injury because I'd heard how bad that was. And I know he had a good NFL career, but I thought he lacked some explosiveness from that point forward. And I think that Boo Carter right now has all that explosiveness and he's more versatile. It depends what you want. If you're an NFL team and you just need a lockdown corner, you probably take Jason Allen if they're both on the board. If you want a guy that's a little more versatile, you probably take Boo Carter. But if I'm building a football team, I want all around great athletes. So if I'm an NFL team, we're just using that as an example, I would take Boo Carter. If I could get 4 years in college out of Boo Carter or Jason Allen, both 100% healthy, I'd still go Boo Carter.
Look at Dave. After all of his hate for Boo Carter, he has totally come around.
Never had any hate for Boo Carter. All right, what's next on our Torchbearers?
All right, so next, this was really tough. I'm sticking on defense for a minute, but it came down to Bryson Easton or Jason Jenkins because, Dave, as you know, Bryson Easton had a heck of a night. He had 2 quarterback hurries, had a sack. Omar Norman Lott's in there too. He was in the backfield a lot, but forced fumbles matter. Big plays matter. Jason Jenkins, by definition, gets on the list because of that.
Nope, I can. That's a great one. I can go with that. Any other Torchbearers?
Well, yeah, we always do 5. Now we go to the offensive side. He had a fumble, but Dylan Samson still was Dylan Samson. And by the way, he had 150 yards, and he had that touchdown run in the second half, Dave. And this is what stands out to me about Dylan Samson in the second half. They knew he was going to get the ball. They knew he was going to carry it. And
I can't give a guy who's fumbled 3 games in a row at a Torchbearer award.
You can't factor in the previous games.
Okay,
I can't give a guy
that fumbled a Torchbearer award.
I can.
If we did that last week, we shouldn't have done that. If we did that the week before, we shouldn't have done that.
I've done it every single time.
Well,
he's got 149 yards.
Sorry, you can't fumble the ball. I mean, your defense is too good. All you have to do as an offense is not turn the ball over, and you've got a 50-50 shot of winning the ball game, no matter if you're explosive or not. You can't turn the ball over.
Y'all know Dave has never been high on Dylan Samson. He was the one who said Dylan Samson couldn't start earlier in the year. I'm kidding. That was me. But, I'm going to project this on the Dave now. So
no, I'm a big Dylan Samson guy, but you got to stop turning the ball over. And you got to give me this. It's got to be mental at this point, right?
No, I think it's just 3 type of plays for the running back. Any running back would fumble the ball.
Okay. The guy has too much pride for it not to be mental.
This isn't rest in peace Sean Taylor trying to field a punt from Dustin Colquitt that he fumbled, which, as you know, was one of the dumbest decisions in the history of football when Tennessee beat Miami 21 years ago.
Yep. All right, what do you got next as our torchbearer?
All right, couple more. Dante Thornton is a torchbearer. 3 catches, 104 yards, and a touchdown.
And we did mention he was also held out for the rest of the game with an injury. We don't know the extent of that.
He came back in though, I thought, because he got a pass
No, he was
from
announced out
Gaston
of the
Moore.
game by ESPN's announcers at one
I think I got it mixed up. I think you're right. Okay. Either way, though, he played very well. We got to give Squirrel White credit. You and I both didn't think Squirrel White was equipped to play right now because of his injury, but he came in 3 catches for 63 yards. Brewer only had 2 catches for 12 yards, but honestly, he would have had more if he wasn't getting interfered with the whole time this game. But look, Dante Thornton was the star of the receivers.
I thought it was clear that Mississippi State was going to do that whole thing, and you've mentioned this before, where you just continue to interfere, and you can't call every single one of them because then the officials get made fun of, and it holds up the game. I thought there was a lot of interference calls on State that didn't get called. At least 4.
You know what it's like? You know what it reminds me of? In basketball, have you seen teams in the past do this, Dave, where they set moving screens all the time because they're like, they can't call every moving screen. Like, they're not going to do that on offense.
Right.
And yeah, that's exactly what they did. My top torchbearer, Dave, you can call me crazy because he missed the second half, but I'm going Nico Iamaleava. I'm going Nico. The way he played in the first half was superb. And I think he helped really deliver that win for Tennessee. He kept the game in control. And I know it was a bad Mississippi State team, but look, he made some throws that are we at least back to saying Nico Iamaleava makes throws that no quarterback in the modern era of Tennessee football has ever been able to make.
Yeah, and I love what they did with him. They felt more confident with him on the dig route to Thornton. I thought that's a pass that needs to be there. And that's one of those deep zone busters that Tennessee should be calling more of. It's not the tunnel screen over and over and over.
No.
It's some slants, some dig routes over the middle. And I thought that ball was just absolutely money. Any other torchbearers for us, Caleb?
No, that's pretty much it. But I have to ask you this because you talk about that dig route. I've kind of been in a debate in my head over who could make more throws between Nico or Tyler Bray. Tyler Bray could not have made that dig route, though, could he, though? Or could he?
No, again, I don't want to disparage Tyler Bray's arm talent because there are other things to disparage him about. But I think he had elite arm talent, but I think Nico's is just a little bit better.
I think so, too. I think that's... Is there anybody
that's going to be? And for anybody that's thrown a football for any amount of time and been in bad shape and gotten in good shape, when you start throwing with your hips and more power and more, just 10 pounds more muscle that Nico's going to have next year, his arms are going to get a little bit better. I mean, if it's an A now, it's going to be an A+ next year. So yeah, I think his arm's better than Tyler right now at his best, and I think it'll only get a tweak better by next year.
And that's special because those are probably the 2 best arms you've ever covered at Tennessee, right? Like T. Martin had a good deep ball, but T. Martin didn't have like the perfect arm for
Casey
right?
threw a wobbler.
Yeah,
but it was very accurate, and he reminded me a lot of Troy Aikman in that he powered the ball through the wobble. Usually, you have to throw a good whip, a good spiral to get it accurate, but he powered it through. So he didn't throw the prettiest ball, but it was very accurate. And so
kind of a Peyton Manning.
Okay, well, Peyton was slightly before my time, but I would say the 3 best were Peyton, Tyler Bray, and Nico.
I'd probably go there too.
But just in terms of pure arm talent, this sounds like heresy, but I would probably take Nico, Bray, then Manning, whose arm was very underrated and who had a stronger arm than Ryan Leaf. I was told by several sources at the combine and in their workouts. So the whole notion that Ryan Leaf had this cannon and that Manning had a pea shooter was just a very strange narrative that was thrown out there. And I think you saw that over time, that Manning did not lack for arm strength, correct?
No, I think that was a retroactive thing based on his time in Denver because Peyton Manning did not have the arm strength in Denver. And he said,
and not to belabor that point, but I was told by a friend of the family that at one point before he went to Europe and did the stem cell treatments that he couldn't even shake your hand. He couldn't even squeeze your hand with
Yeah.
his throwing hand.
Just a quick aside. It's kind of like people think Michael Jordan had a great jump shot. Dave, you know this. Earlier, Michael Jordan did not have a great jump shot. He attacked the basket. He developed the jump shot later in his career as he got older and less athletic. That's kind of like Peyton Manning with the arm. People remember the later years, not to belabor the point, but yeah, no, look, I'll say this. I mean, I wouldn't have even put Peyton in my top 3 though. I still would have said T. Martin had a better arm than Peyton Manning. I would have said, I mean, Hendon Hooker may have had a better arm than Peyton Manning too.
Better deep ball arm.
But you're right. Overall, Nico's got the best of all the worlds that we're talking about.